All right, all right, all right. Welcome to Balcony Talk with the Nelsons, the Love and Truth podcast, where real, honest, and meaningful conversations thrive. I'm one of your hosts, James Nelson, along with my beautiful wife,
Lene.
and our vision is simple yet powerful.
Provide a safe space for couples to explore the depths of love and truth.
Here, condemnation, guilt, and anger have no place as we explore the intricacies of relationships with love and truth.
Join us on this journey of connection, understanding, and genuine dialogue.
All right, let's go. Let's talk about it.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's get it. All right. It's a little bit different over here, but that's all good.
Yeah, I like
It's
that. I
all
like
good.
change is good.
Change is good.
Sometimes people don't like change, but you need to like change because things are always evolving. So it's
Yeah.
important.
You know what? That was a topic today, with my leaders and talking about adapting to
Mm-hmm.
change and being versatile and being open to, being able to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about this. I said the uh, push to pivot. Like sometimes you're pushed into a situation where you have to make adjustments and you have to pivot, and oftentimes, people are struggling because they don't want to change or pivot.
Okay.
Um, and then when you're forced to, you have no choice.
Right.
You got to make the move.
Right.
So
Okay.
so let's do our check in. So how listen, how's your week going so far? I mean, how's everything going?
So the grands left. Our son left going back to college. Um, our daughter moved into her home, and we serviced our client for Global Leadership Solutions. And I must say that it was a an amazing time. I've seen you in action in a different space.
Yeah,
I get to see you when you do your leadership stuff for your company, but not
yeah,
our company. And so it was great seeing you move in your element. I mean, I already knew what I should have expected, but you gave me more.
okay,
And it was great. I love the way that you you just engaged with the people and pulled out of them, you know, you made them talk. Let me say
right.
that. And I don't want to say you made them talk, but you created an atmosphere that they would. And I love that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and it was good.
Yeah.
Like Club Shay Shay, they get on the couch and they start just talking and creating a safe space, and
Mm-hmm.
it kind of lines up with everything that we're doing with the with the podcast and balcony talk, and what that means. It's like creating a safe space, and what I've done as a leader is always created a safe space for my employees to be able to communicate, to not fear making mistakes, being willing to grow and to stretch,
Mm-hmm.
take on more,
Mm-hmm.
um, to do more than what's required. And so, that's my element. So that's global leadership solutions, um, developing, empowering the next generation of leaders. So we got a chance to do that. And so looking for more. And no, it was good.
Yeah.
It's good.
So you kind of took over, but how was your week other than just that? I know that was a highlight.
It
Absolutely.
definitely was a highlight. Also met some other amazing, leadership coaches and mentors. I went to a networking event this week, and just, it's we were having this conversation about connection.
Mm-hmm.
And connection is one of my 6 C's of leadership. I published a book, The 6 C's of Leadership: How to Gain Commitment and Buy-in Early. And one of those C's is connection. Um, in that book, I talk about the importance of building the right culture.
Right.
Um, I discuss the importance of communication and being able to communicate across all generations: millennials, Gen X, traditional, Gen Y, Gen Z, and just being able to communicate effectively across all those generations. And I discuss in the book the importance of consistency. And as I'm talking about these, people ask me all the time, "Hey, can you use these in relationships?" And the answer is absolutely.
Yes.
Um,
You should.
you should use them, and we've used them in some of our conversations. But consistency, and then from consistency, you can build a team and a framework for collaboration, creating a collaborative work environment.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe in collaboration over competition. Not that I'm not competitive,
Mm-hmm.
but healthy competition
Right.
is good. And healthy competition can happen within the construct of being able to collaborate. And then from there is connection. And then from connection, it's commitment. So we were talking about this today in this group with other coaches and leadership development facilitators. And one of the challenges was around how the market has shifted and changed. And, one of the questions that were posed is that, hey, how is this impacting the coaching industry,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kind of shared my take on that. And the truth of the matter is, it can seem like it's very saturated because there's so many people out claiming to be experts in every area.
Mm-hmm.
And social media has created the space for people to go out and do that.
Right.
Whether they have the experience or not, um, they can go out and make the claim that, hey, I'm a great coach. Or guess what? Sign up with me and, pay for my program and I can help you, get clients. And so I just talked about how things can get so watered down with social media and how we can be so connected through technology, but at the same time, we're very disconnected.
Right.
Example, you can be out at dinner with your family and you can just see other families, couples dating, and everyone is on their phone and no one's actually talking. No real connection. And someone shared this, they said the level of loneliness and depression has increased exponentially
Yes.
um, in this age, right? Post COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But it's amazing how, and they all have friends, but they still feel lonely
Yeah.
or disconnected. And I think a lot of that has to do with, technology. And so
Mm-hmm.
my aim and my goal is to how do leaders build connection,
Right.
right? And that's why
Mm-hmm.
I'm so passionate about helping to develop leaders because too many people are being promoted into positions and they're not being prepared to lead,
Yeah.
right? They may have been the best salesperson, they may have been the top performer, they may have been the favorite, all of those things. But when they get promoted, the art of leading, mentoring, coaching, developing others, they have no clue
Mm.
and they get overwhelmed with
Mm-hmm.
that. So, anyway, that was a long answer, but it was a great conversation
No, no,
today.
it's okay because it's good, and I say that because there may be somebody watching us right now
Right.
that or they're leading a team, they're in HR, they see that hey, we need some assistance, and you are or our company is the right company to call on
Yeah.
for that, and they will. I can say this. I already know that you're a great leader. I always say that about you, but they will gain what it is that they are intending to gain from having a leadership coach
Yeah.
from Global Leadership Solutions.
And yeah, just the mentoring, the coaching, and listen, I say that I use this analogy too, right? Michael Jordan, not the goat, right? You can debate it. He's a goat. Everybody
Okay.
else comes second to that. Y'all can argue about who's number two.
Mm-hmm.
The closest I've ever gotten was, Kobe 1A and 1B, right? But
Okay.
Mike's still a goat. But when he finally got the right coach and the right system,
Mm-hmm.
that's when they started really executing and winning.
Yeah.
Um, and so it doesn't matter how great you are, everybody needs a coach, a mentor, someone that can help them navigate through their own emotions,
Mm-hmm.
help them get out of their own way in terms of their growth.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have the right coach and they're really invested in you um, personally,
Mm-hmm.
then and they're authentic and they're real and they're genuine and honest with you, and they're not just sugarcoating it, then you'll see real growth. So
I believe that.
yeah, I'm just that's my passion. So that was a long answer to the week, but
Oh, it's okay.
yeah,
It was really good. What I would definitely like to go into next is something really great. Our bottle is nice and cold.
yes, frosty.
It's really frosty, but I want you to talk about our sponsor, and this is GO3, General Orders Number 3, 1865, and this is a vodka made with sweet potatoes. And I'll let you take over.
No, I mean that's it. I mean the bottom line is that this is one of our, sponsors, Balcony Talk with the Nelsons, and simply put, it's a very smooth vodka. Go check it out. Um, when we drink our vodka, it's only GO3.
Yeah,
Um, and actually, if you go and if you want to order online, you can certainly do that. They're also in. We go to Total Wines, and I'm sure
right.
they're in other stores, but we definitely go to Total Wines for sure. Both the Galleria and off of Holcomb. We've been there multiple times picking up our product.
We have.
But appreciate GO3 and all of the support. We
Yes.
want to continue to build, but definitely check them out. So
Right. And all of our information will be running across the screen. You can also go to their website and order. And you will also see the code that you can put in for whatever discounts that they have for it. All right.
that's BT 2024.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Cool. So what else is up?
All right. Nothing else is up. We're going to talk about something today that I think that people still are not aware of
Mm,
when they're in relationships. There are a lot of words that should be attached to
mm,
what your partner may be exemplifying.
yeah.
And often if you don't know what word to attach, you miss it.
Yeah.
Okay? So today this is going to be season 1 episode
10,
10.
10.
9.
9.
9.
It's 10.
It should be 9.
It's 10. I'm telling you, it's 10.
I love this about us
It's
because
10.
I do the writing on the I do some of the stuff and then my husband's he's
I'm,
saying
t-
I'm wrong and I'm
I'm,
like,
I'm telling you,
babe.
it's 10.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna let you say 10 and I'm gonna say 9.
Okay.
And then when it comes on the screen, we'll see who's right.
And
How
then,
about
and
that?
then, yeah, in the next episode, she's gonna come back and admit that she's wrong.
And
Okay.
I will, which is the
Yeah.
great thing about it. I will absolutely take ownership
Yeah.
and be accountable for when I'm wrong.
Right.
So, the name of this episode is They Are Master Manipulators.
Yeah.
So, everyone has manipulated somebody. We would dare to say, "Oh no, I'm not a master manipulator." No, you're not a master manipulator, but there are some that are. But we all at some point have manipulated. Example, I've said to my husband before, "You never listen to me. Nobody ever listens to me." Well, where did that come from? Because that's not the truth. My husband always listens to me. But I can dare to say, and it's the truth, that growing up, I felt like I wasn't being heard. And so that rolled over, obviously, into my adult relationship. And oftentimes I would tell my husband, "You're not listening to me. You're not listening to me," when he always listens to me. I wasn't attempting to manipulate, but I was. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was going to feel a certain type of way because I know my husband listens to me. He's going to be like, "What you talking about? I always listen to you." And yes, you do.
Mm-hmm.
That's just an example. So, what I would like to do, I'm going to let you take number 2 of the questions that you have, unless you have something else to start
No,
with.
no, no, I do because I wanted to
Okay.
go here, and the reason why we pick certain topics to talk about, and I always like to go back to
Mm-hmm.
kind of balcony talk, and you'll hear this over and over again. I'll say it over and over again, and that is balcony talk. This is a love and truth podcast, and the reason why we started the podcast is because we wanted to create a safe space for number one, us to communicate.
Right.
And for us, it was on the balcony during COVID, if you've heard the story. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was a place where we can be honest and open about whatever we were feeling, questions that we may have had. And so that was our safe space.
Mm-hmm.
And so we said, hey, whatever we talk about here, it stays here. It doesn't come back. We don't, go back and run through it, even though, sometimes women still want to run through it again. But the rules are, when we talk about it, we're done with that. But they might have some follow up questions sometimes, or
Mm-hmm.
there may be some feelings hurt, but that's okay
That's okay.
because that's the whole point of creating a safe space.
Right.
We can share things with each other, um, and it's all about for the purposes of getting a resolve. It's not
Correct.
about being right. So when we talked about, as we bring up this subject, what we want to promote is healthy, productive relationships,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And healthy and productive relationships cannot happen outside of communication, right?
Ever.
And being open and honest with
Mm-hmm.
yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, the other thing was showing people, or not showing people, but just talking about the importance of walking in your truth,
Mm-hmm.
um, even when it hurts.
And most of the time it is.
And most of the time, it's going to hurt. Sometimes you've got to have some very painful conversations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And knowing how to have those conversations is just as important or even more important than the conversation itself. Because oftentimes you can't get resolved because a person can't get past how you brought the conversation up or how you delivered the message or what you're saying. So, walking in your truth, even when it hurts,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then um, developing open and honest conversation habits,
Hmm. Okay.
making it a habit to have open and honest conversations.
Right.
You got to do that, and then not lastly, but I'll end it on this is really developing conflict resolution skills.
That's very important.
How do you resolve conflict in your
Mm-hmm.
relationship? How do you deal with situations that get intense? How do you deal with um, your partner feeling a certain type of way about situations? Um, and so, as we were discussing kind of the topics that we wanted to share, we started looking at what manipulation looks like in a relationship. And I know you can get into the what's the a term they call narcissism,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Individual,
Because it's a part of it.
it's a part of
Mm-hmm.
it, and just how you might not even two things. Number one, you may not realize that you're being manipulated. I think manipulators know they're manipulating, so I'm not going to say that. I think
They know that they're
that yeah, they
manipulating.
know that they are, but you on the other side of that, there's some things that we wanted to talk about to say so you recognize it, and then you can know how to address and respond to it. So that's kind of what I wanted to lead into
No, that was good,
kind of
baby.
the first topic. So you said,
Well,
um,
before you say the topic, and let me I want to connect something with what you just said. A manipulator knows they are manipulating. That's their craft. That's what they do. This is how they survive.
mhm,
They've done this for a long time. Um, on the for the other party, most people that don't set boundaries are the people that don't see the manipulators because you haven't set boundaries, and when boundaries are not set, everything goes. You
yeah,
have nothing put in place that I can see. Okay, am I being tricked? Am I being deceived? Is there
right.
any betrayal? You don't see it.
Or, and we talked about this before
Mm-hmm.
as well. It's if you have unresolved issues, like whether it be childhood traumas or past relational traumas, and you haven't dealt with that, you have not
Right.
done the
The
work
work.
internally, you will set yourself up to be abused and manipulated again. And so part of this is understanding the importance of doing the personal work
Mm-hmm.
before you jump into another relationship. And if you have insecurities, and I'm probably going to touch on some of this, that's how you open yourself up to being manipulated. So,
Correct.
but yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you want to take the first one?
Yeah, so the first one was really around the guilt trip.
Hmm.
guilt tripping manipulator.
Has that ever been done before you even read it? Has it ever been done to you before?
Oh yeah,
Me too.
yeah.
Me
You
too.
got the whole guilt trip.
Me too.
Hence, why we put in our intro, guilt, condemnation, and anger has no
Has no place
place.
here.
And the reason why those three were chosen is because we've both dealt with that in prior relationships, and
Mm-hmm.
we purpose not to deal or allow that in our
Correct.
relationship. So the whole guilt tripping, um, making your partner feel guilty for their actions or decisions, often to control their behavior. And I heard something the other day, and it was on another podcast. I think it was on tonight's conversations. It's like you can't make somebody feel more guilty than they already. If they don't feel guilty about what they've done,
Right. You
you
can
can't.
forget
You can
about
forget
it.
about it. But
Yes.
if they really feel guilty about what they've done,
Right.
um, and you're adding on to that,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nothing that they can do to
Mm-hmm.
sort of shake that. I never liked feeling like the whole guilt trip. I
Yeah.
was beating myself up enough about decisions that I had made, right, wrong, or indifferent, most of the time wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I beat myself up because I'm critical like that of myself. I expect more of myself. And so to get piled on, that guilt tripping, um, it is a form of manipulation because that individual is trying to get you at your weakened state and
Right.
control
Mm-hmm.
your behavior
And they're trying to
and response.
punish you. They're trying to punish you to the fullest extent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So listen. So if for what it looks like,
Mm-hmm.
if you really love me, you would do this for me, right? Even if
Mm-hmm.
it's something that's unreasonable,
Mm.
guilting somebody into doing something for me or
Right.
for you.
Right.
Well, you did this, so And listen, I no one even asked, and I did things out of guilt.
So let's take this relationally, man, woman, whether you're married, it doesn't matter. You're just in a relationship, and the man asks the woman, "Hey, I need $1,000, and if I don't get it, I got into something I don't want to explain right now." And you as a woman, you have the $1,000, but that $1,000 is already allocated to some other things that you need to do. And you're like, well, and they're like, but if you don't do it for me, I'm just, I thought you loved me. And then as the woman, what you would do is relinquish those funds to this individual that you're married, dating, whatever y'all have going on. You were just manipulated and you didn't even know it. Because here's the thing, in a healthy relationship, I'm not going to ask you to give me something that I already know that you really don't have. I I'm going on the basis of, we've talked about, hey, what my finances look like, what yours look like. Obviously, I'm talking, and I don't know if this is, y'all are engaged, or if you're dating, or if you're married. If you're married, I hope that you wouldn't have to ask for $1,000, but it could be that.
No, you know what? I think sometimes it's a little bit more subtle than that. I thought you love me. I think the setup
Mm.
sometimes is, somebody's telling you their story.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling you how nobody ever was there for them,
Yeah.
how their family, you know, didn't do for them, or just whatever the sob story is, and they build that whole. They feel sorry for you,
Victim
and
mentality.
that's one of them too.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, guilting someone, you're just like everybody else. Nobody ever wants to. You know what I mean?
Yes,
It's,
I
you're
do.
guilting me,
I
not
do.
that you love me, but you juxtapose how they're responding or how you're responding
Mm-hmm.
to everybody else. You just like everybody else. Yeah, don't nobody ever want. Yeah, I mean, and that's just kind of how they guilt you into doing things. Not,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I thought you loved me, but it's like you just like everybody else.
Right.
And so
Right.
now you feel good. Well, I'm not like everybody
Now
else. I
you
mean,
feel now
I
you feel compelled to do it because
I don't
I
want to be like
love
everybody
you.
else.
I love you, and I don't want to do that. But see, Well, let me ask you. So, in what we're talking about right now, what what would you say to people that are possibly in this type of situation? Because there are thousands and thousands of people that are going through what we're talking about right now, and they have not identified the problem is that the person that I'm with is is a master manipulator.
Yeah, so you've got to start with giving people truth, right? Sometimes, and not just coming from a man's point of view,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting myself in a situation where I have to be dependent on my late. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't happen,
Right.
but when you see patterns of behavior
Mm-hmm.
and you see this is something that's repeated behavior,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you got to love somebody enough to let them go through whatever they need to go through so they can get themselves in the right state of mind and situation to own their decisions, own their choices.
Mm-hmm.
And love doesn't always show up by you just doing what they say they need you to do.
Right.
Love is giving them truth, saying that, hey, here's why you're in this situation. So what are you going to do differently?
Right.
I love you, but that's like giving somebody that's an addict. You're just feeding them money, and you know what they're doing.
You're being an enabler.
You're an enabler.
Mm-hmm.
So in that situation, you got to be what did we say earlier? Sometimes speaking truth hurts,
Yes,
and you
and
got to
that's
speak the
okay.
truth and call out that the fact that I'm not going to fall for the manipulation
Yeah.
and the guilt tripping.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. Let's not do the guilt trip.
So I know just talking about this, I mean, in my own life, I want to give a real example. I've had where I didn't do what family members may have asked of me and they
Hmm.
felt some type of way. And um the one thing that I'm true to is myself. If something doesn't make me feel good, as we've talked about walking in your truth, I won't allow anybody to overstep the
Hmm.
boundaries that I have in place.
Right.
And, I've heard people being disappointed in me because, hey, you didn't do this or you didn't do that. But, you know, I don't want to do that because that doesn't make me feel good.
Hmm.
And I think that this is where oftentimes we miss it, males and females in relationships. We don't have boundaries set. And so when something comes to overstep something and we don't have that boundary place, but like, oh, you're making me feel like something, I don't really want to do that. It's very difficult to say no
Right.
because you have not positioned, there's not a line drawn in the sand to say you can't come over this line. Once you ask me to do this, that's a deal breaker for me.
Right. And that's important. Like you got to set boundaries,
Yeah.
right? When you're dealing with, and in some cases, people know they got a manipulator.
Some.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you got to set
Some.
boundaries. So, guilt tripping, definitely been through that. Um,
Can
I don't
can
know.
I can I ask,
Yeah.
or let me just add this. Even in friendships, I know for women, and I would like to take this aspect. Sometimes you have friends, and let's just say you're invited to a party. So, Lene's invited to a party, and Carrie's not invited. And I tell Carrie, girl, I'm invited to this gala that is like everybody knows this is the
Right.
gala, and you're not invited. And then Carrie is like, oh, girl, you going to that? You should not go. And she gives me 101 reasons why I shouldn't go because she wasn't invited.
Right.
And then she takes me down this, the street of guilt of why if I go, I should expect this,
Right.
right? Because I'm hearing her, that is not right to do your friend like that, women. If you are not invited somewhere, just don't
Hmm.
go. It's okay. There are places that you are going to be invited that your friend may not be invited. And guess what? If they didn't invite your friend, don't just pull them along. It's okay. It's really okay. But that is a form of manipulation, even in female
Friendship.
relations, friendships. Yeah. Okay, that's it.
No, it's good. You brought up a point because we've got friends now. I know my best friends. I mean, we've been solid for years, but I've got other groups of friends that we don't necessarily hang out
Mm-hmm.
with, and it's not an issue. You know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it was a good
Mm-hmm.
point. It's a good point. Okay.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna let you take the other one.
Okay. So another one. Again, we're talking about master manipulators
Master
and
manipulators.
knowing how to recognize when someone is attempting to manipulate you.
Mm-hmm.
If you have someone that's always playing the victim,
Hmm.
right? Something is always happening to
To
them.
them, always.
Now this probably we're talking family members, we're talking relationships, we're talking friendships. So
So we're talking cousins.
cousins uh, might portray themselves as the victims to gain sympathy and avoid responsibility for their actions. This can
Mm.
lead to the other partner or person to feel responsible for their partner's or the person's unhappiness and problems. Man, and this,
Avoidance. That's it said avoid here, but avoidance. That is a very good word for what people do not to accept accountability for their actions.
hmm and they're projecting, they're playing victim. Somebody else did something to me, so feel sorry for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Look at what always happens to me.
Mm-hmm.
And in a relationship, that can get exhausting. Like honestly, being with somebody that it doesn't matter what the situation is, it's never their fault.
Ever.
They've never done anything, but everybody in the world is against them. And then they expect you to take their side in every situation. Like you're in a relationship, and now again, if there's a conflict, we have a code. If I'm not going to say you're wrong, I'm not going to front you out in front of people.
Right.
But when we get behind, I was like, nah, baby, you out of pocket with that.
And then I break down, I cry, I go through this whole production of why you are not supporting me. You know these people did things to me, but every conversation we have, everybody is wrong but me. I'm talking about I have 50,000 things that happen. I have not taken accountability for one about anything that's happened to me.
Yeah, and you got no, you out of pocket. No, you need to go rethink that. Hey, and we've had these conversations
Mm-hmm.
about even dealing with kids or whatever the case may be. Nah, man, nah, you might need to think about that. And
Mm-hmm.
you've had to check me on occasion, like, nah, babe, can I here? This is what she say. Can I share something with you?
Yeah.
Like, watch the approach. Do I have permission? That's what she'll
And
say.
that's what I asked. Do I
Do I have
permission to
permission?
share something with you?
And so she'll say, "Do I have permission?" And I
Mm-hmm.
already know I'm wrong. As soon as I hear, "Do I have permission?" I know I'm wrong. But being open and willing to say, "Okay, you know what? Yeah, you're right."
Mm-hmm.
But the manipulator, going back to that, is the one that never takes responsibility, never takes accountability. Everything that goes wrong, it's your fault. Well, if you would have done this, I wouldn't have lost my job. Well, say,
Yeah.
man, you was smoking weed in the parking lot. What
And
I got to do with that?
and they drug tested
And they
you.
drug tested
So
you.
how is that?
My
Why
fault.
am I responsible?
Right.
You're not responsible, but I'm responsible.
And a lot of, and I've seen this, um, just not just up close, but you see this all the time, where the man just puts all the blame on the woman for their shortcomings. A lot of that has to do with insecurities or their low self worth,
Mm-hmm.
and so they put it on the woman to try to make up the difference. Nah, bro, you need to get it together, man. Stop playing the victim. Put your big briefs on. Take responsibility and accountability, and go fix it.
Yeah. So, one of the things about a manipulator is that they are actually coming from a place of insecurities.
100%.
And so now, what they are going to always do, this is why they look for your insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
So, oftentimes, this is what we do as women. We're very quick to tell when we're on a date, and the guy may be attractive, and you feel a connection, and he feels a connection too. But the one thing you didn't know, he's a master manipulator. And then master manipulators look for three things. They look for guilt, fear, and shame. They're skilled at it. And so once you tell them, like, oh, you know what, I'm fearful of this, just growing old and not having somebody, then they're going to be quick to attach. And then once y'all get together, what they're going to do is anytime they do something wrong, and then you are talking to them about what they did wrong, what they will say is that, well, I could just leave,
Mm-hmm.
because they know you just told them your secret. Your biggest fear is growing old alone. So, women, this is why it's very important. You need to know when you're talking to people, you need to listen more than you talk. We talk as women. We all know that, and that's fine. But we need to learn a new skill about listening. I took a
Mm-hmm.
class on being an empathetic listener. You need to learn how to be an active listener.
Right.
My husband got on to me, just even about just our podcast and talking, babe, wait, because you'll say something and I'll forget what I'm about to say. I didn't get upset with him. I didn't get upset with you. Did I act any type of way? But I owned that, and I said, you know what? I hear you,
Mm-hmm.
because I respect you.
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, we say this because you get seasoned and your mind starts going all around. But um, no, I think
Just
that
take a drink. You'll be all right.
yeah, I think that playing the victim
Mm-hmm.
and placing blame, because that's one of the other ones, kind of blame shifting and pushing blame on other people as if they're the reason why you're in the situation that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the insecurities is kind of going down that path. It's all rooted in insecurity. As a individual, you're insecure, and so you want to fall. And this is where I was going to go. Now,
Mm-hmm.
as I'm
Okay.
talking, giving men or women the playbook like too early in the game. Like you just started dating, you're telling them all the things that the other dude did wrong or the other chick did wrong, how you were hurt, how they did this, how they did that, or I need this, I need that, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna put up with this anymore, I'm not gonna put up with that anymore. And you're giving them all the playbook of how to manipulate.
Yeah.
See, you got to go through the art of just discovery and letting people let things unfold and stop rushing into anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like I heard Dave Chappelle. He was telling a joke about, um, not to make light of it, but these active shooter drills that they're doing in the schools,
Mm-hmm.
and they're telling the kids what to do, how to respond, where to go, and this, there's nothing light about it, but I'm just making this point.
Mm-hmm.
The one that's actually going to do it is probably in the school.
And he
So
has the
he's
play.
he's got the whole playbook.
Mm.
Here's everything that you're going to do when this
Wow.
happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a terrible analogy, but it's a real one. So when
Correct.
you're getting to know someone and they'll know how to play the victim because
Mm-hmm.
you've given them all the key nuggets on how to play you,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to allowing through conversation, through time, and just, consistency,
Mm-hmm.
getting to know someone genuinely. And let's see if they do things without the prompting.
Correct.
Let's see if they meet some of those needs without you telling them all your needs. Here's my checklist of all the things that I need, right?
Mm-hmm.
You give them all of that so they know how to play. They're already know the game. So they know how to play the victim. They know what your sensitivities are. They know what you're prone to. And Yeah, man. Sometimes you gotta just be quiet and let things happen organically and unfold through conversation in relationships as they're developing. You got to do that. So that was the second one.
Well, wait a minute. Before we, because this came up in my spirit to actually bring this up, and we have, and we're talking about relationships on balcony talk. It's about all things relationship.
Right.
When you have even a mother and a father, and they have let's just say adult child that has been on drugs for a very long time, and that addict will play the victim
Yes.
all day long. And even as the parents are getting older, parents want to see their children do well. We all do.
Hmm.
We all don't are not as strong as others to just be like, you know what? I have to let them go and I have to let them hit it the hard way. There are actually parents out here, they grew up a certain way and they just believe in holding on to that child and making sure that child is good no matter how many rehabs, how many times they have gotten clean, and then they actually revert back to having that drug habit again.
Hmm.
But I'm here to tell you parents that are stuck there, your child as an addict, they've learned to be, when I say a great artist and mastery at being a manipulator, they've learned how to do that. They've learned how my parents care about me. So you as the parent will become an enabler and actually become really their drug dealer, because you're trying to help them and give them money, and they're telling you they will tell you lie after lie and you believe it. So just be aware of that, because unfortunately, as much as you want to do for your adult child, they may not really want to come out of that lifestyle.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna add to that
Okay.
because um, talking about adult children,
Mm-hmm.
and we know the divorce rate in America is about 50%. So it's a good chance that most of you out there have some type of blended family,
Yes.
bonus kids, bonus moms, bonus
Mm-hmm.
dads, and
Mm-hmm.
and the like. But here's where the manipulation can come into play, because you made a comment here, and parents can be made to feel guilty,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
About um, so I'm talking guilt trip and playing the victim,
Yeah.
because you and mom got a divorce. This affected me, and now
Right.
I'm struggling because of this. And I'm not saying it didn't happen,
Yeah. We're not
but
saying that.
I'm also saying that there's a space and time where you got to kind of reconcile and work through that through counseling and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have kids that are adult children, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
talking about 8, 9, 10-year olds. I'm talking about adult,
We're talking about 21 and
21
above.
and above,
Correct.
and you're still playing the victim that because this happened had nothing to do with you. It wasn't your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's affected me.
Right.
I get it. That's why we really promote counseling, dealing with unresolved issues. But that victim mentality, sometimes it can be seen in the parent because one parent might blame the other parent. And so now you develop this victim ideology, right? Because that's what you've seen from your parents. And remember this, most things are caught, not taught. So when we start talking about what did you teach,
Mm-hmm.
it's not always what you taught. It's all in some
What did
cases,
they
in many
see?
cases, it's what did they see, what did they catch,
Right.
and if they saw mom or dad playing the victim,
Right.
if they saw mom and dad, throwing the guilt trips, if they saw mom and dad going through and they see the manipulation happening, whether it be through child support or not being able to see the kid or talking down about the other parent, and so they're learning these behaviors
At an early
at an
age.
early age, and then they get into a relationship
Mm.
and they think this is normal. They think this is how you're supposed to operate.
So this is why I can say that a lot of women often, oh, he ain't shit, he ain't nothing, because you're hearing your mom talk about your dad, you hear your mom talk about her brother because he's doing stuff, your mom is saying things she absolutely has no business saying in front of her daughter, which is going to
Shape.
ultimately and conform the daughter into saying the things that we hear women saying now. I don't need a man. I can do things on my own.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You probably can, but these some of us are at fault as mothers. And mom, if you hear us talking today and you know that you are that mom, go back and apologize. I don't care if you are 70 years old, 60 years old, 50 years old. Go, if this resonates with you, go and apologize to your children and let them know, I spoke bad
Hmm.
about or ill about your father. Whether it was true or not, it was not at
Appropriate.
appropriate or in your best interest, because I can see now where you're having relational
Right.
issues.
And so it's either it's going to be a hardened heart where you're cold,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or you're going to fall into that whole victim mentality and everything is everybody else's fault.
All
And you
right.
can't even, because you haven't processed it the right way.
Yeah.
Because you didn't see your mom or your dad process it the right way. You didn't see your grandparents process it the right way. And so now you've got this cycle of not processing, emotions
Right.
properly, and you fall into one of these manipulation traps. Either
Right.
you're going to be manipulated or you're going to be the manipulator. Either way, it doesn't make for a healthy relationship.
It does not. And, I can even say about, playing the victim, kids that didn't receive a lot of attention
Hmm.
in their younger years. And then you get into a relationship and just, I need you to validate every single
Hmm.
thing, like everything. And that's worrisome for you to want to put that on anybody. And if they don't tell you, then that's when that manipulating spirit arises, and it's like, oh, well, you think that such and such is prettier than me. You haven't even said that like it's all like we become really. I don't want to use certain words because I don't want to. I want to be sensitive to people. But I'm going to tell you this. I want to use the word schizophrenic, because I I'm vying for attention,
Hmm.
right? And so I manipulate you into, me feeling like really broke down and crying. Nobody thinks that I'm pretty, and
Hmm.
you're like, what are you talking about? Because at the end of the day, you're with me because there's something about me that you liked. Obviously, you did think I was.
Yeah, and you know what? It manifests in a couple of ways. It could be more, but just the two that I think of is for women, it can come across as overly needy, which is not healthy,
Ever.
right? Or in a man, it can come across as being weak,
Yeah.
passive,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and neither the man nor the woman wants a needy or weak or passive
Right.
individual.
Mm-hmm.
No man wants an overly needy woman unless he's manipulative and he wants to control that person.
Right.
He wants her to need him, right? That's another
Mm-hmm.
form of manipulation.
It is.
Giving and then taking away so
Mm-hmm.
that there's a dependency on me to take care of you. I need you to need me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But most men don't want just an overly needy woman. And I can guarantee that most women don't want a passive, weak, or needy man.
This
And
is
when I say needy, I mean like you need constant validation,
Yeah.
constant building up,
Attention.
constant attention,
Mm-hmm.
constant just
You
affirmation.
I can't do anything by myself. Oh, you know what? I don't
Nobody wants
know.
that.
I'm just so, what is it they call certain women, like they dizzy. Like men do not want that. I need you to be able to do something and handle something on your own. This is where the problem lies in if you are codependent.
Yeah.
So being codependent and having someone in your life that's a manipulator, that is a whole recipe for destruction.
Over time. So yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So another one.
Okay.
So manipulation. This is going to resonate with a lot of brothers out here too. Withholding
Sex.
affection. I was gonna get to that. Well, okay. I said affection, but sex,
Yeah, sex.
right?
Yeah.
That's a big manipulator. Using affection or sex
Mm-hmm.
as a bargaining chip or reward can be a form of manipulation. Um,
Hmm.
you know that's that happens a lot. And the truth of the matter is, kingdoms have fallen behind it.
Well,
You say men can talk all day long, but it was what is it? A Family Feud with Steve Harvey when it was one, and they were talking about things that men would do for sex,
uh-huh.
and so the woman gave the answers like uh, cook for sex, and like
Mm-hmm.
X, and then went to one of the men. He's like, Steve, it's not me. He said, but
Kill.
well, that was one of them. He said,
Oh.
I'd lie. Right. So
Oh.
he went down, lie, kill, steal, everything,
Destroy.
destroy every um, 10 commandment that could be broken.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was it because so when that is denied,
Mm-hmm.
right, it's a form of control and manipulation.
Mm-hmm. So I'm
And
gonna
and, and
punish you.
that's yeah, I'm gonna punish you. And we listen, and we have a rule that we don't play that. Yeah,
No, because
but does that
listen,
happen though?
no, it happens often. It's been happening. It's been a top behavior for women. You have a headache. You can have a headache if you want to, and have as many as you want. And so those headaches gonna get you caught up. Those headaches gonna get you without a partner. That's what them
So
headaches gonna get you.
so the flip side of that, it doesn't it just doesn't happen that way, right? Except what's the comedian Desi? He did a little skit, and his girl just kept fussing and talking, and then he says, "Keep talking, no more," and then she just
She ain't gonna get no more.
she's not gonna get no more.
No more. No
Yeah,
more.
keep talking.
And but that's good because she was responding to am I connect with you on that level. So
Oh, that was definitely
that's good.
a spoof because it don't happen like that.
Yeah. It probably doesn't. But I need my women to that, especially that are looking for their partner. I need you guys to slow down and get yourselves together first. We hop from relationship to relationship, and if you keep, you know, basically magnetizing these master manipulators, then that's because you're not healed. Because we only and we've said this, I think it was probably on our last podcast, but we only attract that which is within us.
Right.
So if you keep attracting a master manipulator, guess what? And I'm sorry to tell you, but there's something in you that's broken that's causing that magnet, because magnets only attract magnets.
Right.
So whatever that is. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. So don't withhold affection, guys. Don't be out there denying your woman that which she needs. Okay? Don't
That's
be
a
out there
joke.
denying her. Okay? I don't know which
Who that's
man
for?
who's out there doing that. But we can withhold if we wanted to.
Oh my God.
You can be listen. You can be mad all you want to, but let your woman pull up on you and just whatever you was mad at, it's gonna be gone.
Mm. Okay.
You might try to get mad after the fact, but in that moment, it's like, man, forget all that. Okay, I'm still mad.
And you'll go back to the unresolved issues
Yeah,
after that happens, after you
yeah,
make your connection.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Oh, you know what? some of these are very, we wanted to deal with some of the scenarios. I mean, not, I mean, obviously threatening and intimidating behavior, and that's just abusive. Um, Kind of touched on creating dependencies, um, and just seems like roles have reversed or reversing, particularly in our community where. And shout out to the women, man. They're doing their thing. Like women that are just confident, taking care of business, being business women, entrepreneurs, excelling in corporate. I mean, all that's great. And men and brothers out there doing their thing too. But then number one, there's more men than women. I mean, more women than men,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you just look at the level, that's why there's always this debate about would you date someone that was just, I don't know why they always use bus driver, but that's always the analogy.
Okay.
I think somebody said if he owns a bus line, but but it's just like, you know, connecting with people personally,
Mm-hmm.
right? You got your values, you got like what you would tolerate, you got your boundaries that you set.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you might even have your criteria like, hey, this is what I need. This is what I'm attracted to. And that's okay. But don't get with somebody and you're trying to manipulate them into doing something that they're not built or equipped to do.
Well, that's a great statement, but I say that you cannot change somebody that's a master manipulator. They have to be willing to change themselves. But what I would like to do, just in the last few minutes, something that we had on here was jealousy and possessiveness, and I
Mm-hmm.
want to I want to just dive into that these last few minutes. Manipulative partners might create jealousy or possessiveness to control their partner's interactions with others. This can involve accusing the partner of infidelity or trying to isolate them from friends and family.
Mm.
Excuse me. That's a huge one because, you know, I hear oftentimes that women are trying to compete with their spouse. I'm trying to, I need to make more of a bag than he does. I'm just like my husband. No, you're not. I don't want to be just like you. Let me say that. I don't want to be just like you. I want to have a healthy relationship, and I want you to be in the lane that you've been assigned to be in. I want to be in the lane that I've been in assigned to be in. I don't want to ever feel like you and I are competing against each other. That is not a relationship that I want to have with anyone.
Yeah.
I only want to compete in a sport, or it's something that is a competitive cards or something. A relationship is not where competitive being competitive should not be in any relationship. What do you think about that?
No, I don't think it should at all because we're not in competition. We're on the same team. Um, but going back to this jealousy
Mm-hmm.
thing, I want to, because you brought up a point. We got a couple of minutes left because I think that's also speaking to, let's say we're out
Okay.
and we got us a section,
Okay.
and you over here twerking right next to some other dude. So I think that's trying to create jealousy um, in that moment
Mm-hmm.
is a form of manipulation, right?
Yes, I
And
believe it.
so trying to make someone jealous, and that goes both ways, men or women.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a problem. And when people are trying to make you jealous and they're trying to pit you up against another guy, well, hey, well, he doing this and he got that, and why we don't have this and why we don't have that. I think that's more of what this is talking about, creating that jealousy. And now he's jealous, or on the other end, for a man being possessive and controlling.
Mm-hmm.
Same situation, you out, you can't even stand up um, and move because somebody's so possessive. That's manipulation. So now you can't even enjoy yourself
Right.
out because you've got someone that's possessive, or on the female side, you're out trying to make your man jealous because guess what? You see old boy over here, he blinked out or whatever. Your man, he working hard doing, but he got you in the section, and now you're trying to make him jealous because he's not where his other dude's at. I think that's
Mm.
foul.
That's very foul. And the last thing that I'm going to say is women, I don't know if any of you are doing this. I'm sure some of you are, but it will never ever work out at your best interest. If you're trying to stay with the person that you're with, if you treat a man like that, he's going to leave you soon.
Yeah, and the sad part about it, some of them ain't leaving. So just be honest and truthful with yourself and say, this is not what you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we talked about being honest and truthful and just let it go.
Yeah.
If that, because if it's me, I'm letting you go. Hey, that's what you want to do? Go, hey, go do that. But you're not coming back over here. Right. So, so anyway, I
Okay.
agree.
Well,
That's it. That's all we
well,
got.
this has been Balcony Talk with the Nelsons. You know, drop whatever you need to drop in the comments. We are, even if you have something you want us to talk about, we want to hear about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure something's going to be coming rolling across the screen at this time of how you can go ahead and email us about anything you would like for us to talk about. But until next time,
Oh, but they can find
oh,
us on all platforms.
they can find us on all platforms. YouTube is going to be rolling across the screen.
Oh yeah.
iHeart, Spotify, wherever podcasts are,
You can
you
find
can
us.
find us. Instagram, Facebook.
There you go.
All
All right.
right.
Cool. Peace, y'all.
Peace.